Hello, everyone. So today I woke up to a very sad and terrible news headline, which reported a terrorist attack in Imo State. It says that some gunmen killed travelers in Imo State and burned vehicles in along Okigwe Owerri Road. Now, this is a very tragic event and incident. Now, but reading the report, something struck me, because in the report, while it said that the security agencies in Nigeria have, constituted a joint task force to unravel the perpetrators of this dastardly act, they have already linked it to IPOB and ESN. Mind you, they have no. They don't know these people already. They don't have them. They have not caught them, so they have no evidence linking IPOB to the crime, or the crime to IPOB. Now, this has always been the issue when it comes to insecurity issues in the southeast. You can always see a deliberate attempt to pin it on somebody, to pin it on the same people, IPOB and ESN, even when they have vigorously distanced themselves from these attacks. The government, the security, the media, the Nigerian media. I know why Nnamdi Kanu have been very, very vocal about and against the Nigerian media. They've always stuck to, reporting it that way, even when the groups have, distanced themselves. And this portends a very troubling problem. It portends an interesting problem, because if you are working from the answer to the question, because it's as if that once you have that mentality or that mindset that it is this person, you are already biased. So you are no longer looking to unravel the truth. You are now looking to indict, somebody. And I think this is why the security in Nigeria, the security officials in Nigeria, the security architecture in Nigeria is very ineffective. Because if B commits a crime, and as an investigator, you already have A in mind as the perpetrator of that act, even if B comes up with, presents an evidence of that same crime, you can either ignore it, or actually, knowingly, you can ignore it because you don't want to indict yourself, because you have already accused somebody else. So you'll be working to either indict the wrong person, or you can unconsciously, miss clues that will lead you to the actual perpetrators. That's on that side. But now let's actually, discuss. Let's actually, analyze why this incident is a very interesting one, and the timing also. Because for those who do not know, the IPOB, which is an indigenous umbrella body, an umbrella body of the indigenous people of Biafra, who have, especially the proponents of freedom of Biafra from Nigeria, and which the leader is Mazi Nnamfi Kanu. For those who don't know, Mazi Nnamfi Kanu has been at loggerheads with the federal government for a very long time, starting, I think, way back in 2015 when he was arrested, and then after a long time in detention, he was granted bail. While he was observing his bail, Nigerian Joint Task Force invaded his house and killed lots of his followers, about 28 of them. These are well documented, and then Nnamdi Kanu survived the attack and escaped the country. And then the government went into overdrive, and with their media counterparts, they labeled Nnamdi Kanu as jumping bail. They went into that propaganda. They peddled it almost, they peddled it very effectively, actually. And then that Nnamdi Kanu jumped bail, even when it was obvious that they, invaded his house, tried to kill him, actually killing not one, not two, not 10, not 20, 28 individuals, people, human beings, killed them, destroyed properties. And with that arrogance, without, unremorseful, attitude, they tracked him outside of Nigeria. In 2021, they kidnapped him, abducted him in Kenya, kind of tortured him for a few days in Kenya, and smuggled him back into Nigeria without the knowledge of the Kenyan government. At least that one also is established. Now, ever since Nnamdi Kanu was smuggled back into Nigeria, he has been in court, and the government have been stalling, either through their lawyers or through the trial judge, who, by the way, as Nnamdi Kanu protested against her, had a biased mind to his case, because according to Nnamdi Kanu and according to public records, the federal government has instituted a corruption case against her husband and the son. So it's quite possible that they have been pulling her string ever since in the case of Nnamdi Kanu to do their biddings. So Nnamdi Kanu, after a very long time, bearing the delay and all that, he put his foot down and demanded that the judge recuses herself, which she did. But after back and forth of the government trying to get her back to retake the case, Nnamdi Kanu stuck to his guns and said over his dead body that that his case will be continued by the judge. So the federal government and the judiciary capitulated and appointed a new trial judge to handle the case. Now, ever since from the first appearance of the court of the new judge, he had given a timeline, and this is why the incident in Imo State is very suspect. He had given a timeline from the time he made that statement till the 10th of May 2025 to either substantially deal with the case or actually end the case. Now, few days, actually a day to the final day. Now we are having, or a day or 2 days to the final day. Now we are having a case of terrorism in the southeast, which is now being linked without any evidence again to IPOB. Now it's almost obvious. If I was in doubt before that the insecurity in the southeast was being orchestrated for some reason, now I know 100% for sure that none of the insecurities, none of the attacks that have been linked to IPOB were actually perpetrated by IPOB, and it was well orchestrated. And this incident now proves that, because you cannot tell me that a group, the IPOB group, who have been very vocal about their terroristic tendencies, about their peaceful approach to their quest, would jeopardize the possibility of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader, regaining freedom at this particular moment. The timing of this incident in Imo State, like I said, is very suspect. So I have no doubt that even if the IPOB were to be the dumbest, the stupidest group ever, they wouldn't compromise. They wouldn't jeopardize the any chance of Nnamdi Kanu regaining freedom from a very oppressive federal government of Nigeria. Now this begs the question: who then is actually responsible for all this, for this attack and so many other, and the insecurity, the general insecurity in the southeast? The answer is very obvious, because if you understand that what the government, federal government, is charging Nnamdi Kanu against, you will understand that this was orchestrated to match. It was orchestrated to match. Because Nnamdi Kanu is being charged. Charges of terrorism was leveled against him by the federal government. And ever since they have started this case, they have had really nothing. They have had no headway. They have no evidence. The flimsiest one they have is a video that he made in London, asking people to protect themselves, defend themselves from the police or from the army who want to kill them. This is not. People have right to protect themselves. Not even, I mean, from their own, from the security officials. They do have that right, because after all, South Korea, in as recently as early this year, South Korean people resisted martial law. They physically overpowered military men who tried to use force on them. They overpowered them. And in the end, the people were justified for doing that. So, anywhere in the world, defense against tyranny, by whether it be committed by the government or by individuals or groups, is no crime. It's no crime. It's not criminal. So what Nnamdi Kanu, what they have, they are smoking gun. They have provided in the court so far is a video of Nnamdi Kanu asking people to protect themselves from the police, from the army, from anybody, Fulanis, anybody that wants to kill them, or wants to destroy them, or wants to, inflict injuries on them. Defend yourself. He has been consistent on that. Now, so why would the IPOB risk, sending Nnamdi Kanu to the gallows by committing anything, but doing anything that would sway the minds and the hearts of the people and the trial judges? It doesn't make any logical sense. So that leaves us with one possible the most reasonable answer. Those trying to convict Nnamdi Kanu on terrorism have orchestrated terrorist attacks to match and find a way to link Nnamdi Kanu to these issues. And I will not be surprised. I will not be surprised if tomorrow the security agencies of Nigeria will parade some people who will link themselves, who would say they have links to IPOB. It's very possible. It's very possible. It's very possible that tomorrow, before the judge, today or tomorrow, before the judge announces the result of the court cases, it's possible that they would find these perpetrators and they will confess to being part of IPOB. If you know how Nigeria works, if you know the length Nigeria and the Nigerian government, the Nigerian system can go to get what they want, you will know that this is very possible.